Good evening, Havarim. Tonight I have a word study prepared to share, and I'm going to read a little bit yet again out of the book of Yachshar. Remember, that means the book of the upright. And Abba wanted me to share my study on this word, remember. And I was pretty surprised because, Alan has quite a few word studies on Zakar. That's remember in English. And, you know, I was thinking, like, whenever he does a really amazing word study, I don't feel it necessary to redo another one on it. But the way that the word remember, Zakar, is used in this book, it almost makes you think, does that mean that Yahweh forgets about us sometimes if he has to remember us? So I'm going to jump right in and read it to you guys. A few verses. I'm going to start at verse 41 out of chapter 70, just so you can have some background before I get to the verse that I knew I had to do an audio study on this word. And, if you're doing your own audio studies, it's really cool to see how, the same audio lineup for a word that is very common, zakar, is very common. Yet, depending on the context of the verse, it can mean so many different things. So, of course, before I jump right into reading, let's get Abba Father's berachot on our study. Oh, Abba Father Yahweh, Tudi Abba, thank you so much, Father, for this time that you've prepared for us to have, and that you always make sure to make a way when these times that we're living in is so difficult and busy, and it can be really challenging to even make the time and feel up to doing the studies as well if we're truly exhausted from having a crazy schedule or a crazy personal life that we're trying to get together. You understand the drain, and yet you cause events to fall into line to where we can spend this much needed time with you, to be drawn closer and closer to you, as we will see in this wonderful study that you provide us with, to make sure that it was recorded in your gorgeous audio for us to be able to really draw closer to you with. Thank you so much, Tudi Abba, for always making sure that when tried in these harsh times, that your loving instructions are written on our hearts, and we can feel like we just aren't up to it, but you make it happen for us. Your love is just unsurpassable, and Yeshua, thank you so much for making a way for us to be able to be this close to Yahweh of Saba, the daddy of those in the way. And thank you so much, Ruach HaKodesh, for your continual guidance with us and our understanding of this beautiful language of our Abba Father and Elohim. Okay, friends, we have the Geder HaKodesh around us. As always, whenever we have Elohim's warring Malachim to protect us and our understanding through his Ruach. So, if you don't have this book, please get it. It's just amazing to get the background information that we miss in Bereshit, Genesis. It's like Bereshit's all over again except with the missing information. Okay, so chapter 70, verse 41 is where I'm going to start, and I'm going to read to verse 49. And Moshe was in the sovereign's house, going out and coming in. Yahweh gave him favor in the eyes of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of all his servants, and in the eyes of all the people of Mitzrayim. And they loved Moshe exceedingly. And the day arrived when Moshe went to Goshen to see his brothers, that he saw the children of Yisrael in their burdens and hard labor, and Moshe was grieved for their sakes. And Moshe returned to Mitzrayim, and went to the house of Pharaoh, and came before the sovereign. And Moshe bowed down before the sovereign. And Moshe said to Pharaoh, Please, my master, I have come to seek a small request from you. Do not turn my face away empty. And Pharaoh said to him, Speak. And Moshe said to Pharaoh, Let there be given to your servants the children of Israel, who are in Goshen, 1 day to rest for their labor on it. And the sovereign answered Moshe and said, Look, I have lifted up your face in this matter to grant your request. And Pharaoh ordered a call to be issued throughout Mitzrayim and Goshen, saying, To you, all the children of Israel, thus says the sovereign, For 6 days you shall do your work and labor, but on the 7th day you shall rest, and shall not perform any work. Thus shall you do all the days, as the sovereign and Moshe, son of Bathiah, have commanded. And Moshe rejoiced at this word which the sovereign had granted to him, and all the children of Israel did as Moshe ordered them. For this matter was from Yahweh, to see the children of Israel, for Yahweh had begun to remember, begun to Zakar, the children of Israel, to save them for the sake of their fathers. So, does that mean that Yahweh forgot about the children of Israel when they were toiling in their 7-day harsh labor, and because they weren't spending time with him, they slipped his mind? No. Yahweh doesn't forget about us. Remember that whenever we're going through something He's using it as a refinement. It's interesting because I just finished up a few weeks that I had to work 7 days. Like, I had to. And, praise Elohim for his loving instructions in helping us to revive from that type of 7-day work week. I'm having my Shabbat right now. Even though today isn't Saturday, I am making it a Shabbat rest to Yahweh. And of course, spending this time with him. And, if you're going through something like that, it's not because you're being punished or anything. As we'll see in the Odiot study, that he does this not only to refine, but to help others. Once we learn from our circumstances, we can turn around and share it with someone else. I had no idea that I was going to make a study on this. I read this a long time ago, and, I'd just been sitting on it. It was like Yahweh wouldn't allow me to move farther. And now I know it's because he wanted me to make a video this day. Somebody out there needs to hear this. And I know Yahweh is using me to share this message to, even if it's just this one person or perhaps multiple people. The type of harsh labor that we have to experience today is insane. And especially his Kodashim, his dedicated ones, they're really attacked because Hashatan is trying to break us. And this is a perfect point that I'm going to recommend these videos from Alan Horvath. I'll show the graphic. The one on my left, your right, is Revelation 12 and the male child, part 1. Watch part 1 and 2, because this is where he does a study on the word Zakar, and he's talking about what it has to do with the Nechatef, and this, in a way, has to do with the Nechatef too. Also, even right now, what I'm getting at with all of this harsh labor, we're in Hashatan's system right now, in his world. Praise Elohim that the Ruach is still here to hold wickedness back during the 7-year tribulation when it's full force. Oh my gosh. Ugh. All the more encouragement as to, do our best to spend every moment that we can with him. It's like, even though, I'm sometimes unable to take a day of rest each week, it doesn't mean that I'm not spending Shabbat time with Yahweh. We can, first thing in the morning when we get up, even if it's just for a minute, read a verse and give the day to him in prayer. Talk to him all throughout your day. Even though it might not be a Shabbat rest to our bodies, our hearts are Shabbat to him. They're in rest with him as our Abba, knowing that he has our back. So to get into this word, to bring them back to a position to be able to dig in and observe Shabbat while he subdued the harsh headship that was trying to crush them. So again, he causes the Shabbat to happen for us if we're unable to rest. He brought them back to a position to be able to dig in and observe Shabbat while he subdued the harsh headship that was trying to crush them. So I hope and I pray that this is an encouragement to anyone who feels like they just can't keep up with the harsh yokes of our modern day slavery. Remember, Zakar, that Yahweh hasn't forgotten about us. He's just using whatever we're going through to cause it to be a crown to cast back at our Adon, Yahushua's feet, when we are finally Nerchatef, kidnapped from this wicked world, and have our ultimate day of Shabbat in the Shamayim with Elohim. And I just remembered too, one other thing that I have to share really quick. It was a video that I came across. It was that other graphic on my right, your left, with Alan. It's his live stream number 2, January 11th, 2018. I had just a few videos back made a video on, it was titled, "Will Our Loved Ones Be Saved Just Because They Are in Our Household?" And in that live stream, a sister, an Ichori, asks the question, well, if everything's already basically predestined, meaning Yahweh knows the end from the beginning, He knows our hearts, He knows what we're going to choose, what's the point of even praying for somebody that's an unbeliever that we love, that we want to come in to the fold? Alan does an amazing answer. Well, obviously Yahweh answered through him, and I really encourage you guys to watch that along with those other 2 videos from him to get the background on Zakar and tie it in with this video and see what Abba reveals to you about your situation if you're feeling forgotten or wondering what's taking so long. Shalom, Mishpacha.